Hi there. I would like to talk about vegetarianism and its relation to health and social education. So, I expect that most of you have a basic idea of what vegetarianism is, but if you don't, I'll try to sum it up briefly. If you are a vegetarian, you choose not to eat both red and white meat. Red meat includes meat like pork, duck, and beef,
While white meat includes meat like
fish, pork, and chicken. But there are some gray areas when it comes to other animal products like dairy, eggs, honey, and leather. When it comes to these areas, vegetarians can usually fit into one of the four main groups. Vegans, also called full vegetarians, exclude all animal products from their diet and lifestyle. Lacto-vegetarians don't eat eggs, but do eat and make use of dairy and other animal products. Ovo-vegetarians don't eat dairy, but do eat and make use of eggs and other animal products. Lacto-ovo vegetarians? Well, make a wild guess. They eat both eggs and dairy products, and make use of all other animal products. I myself am pesco-vegetarian, which means that I do the same thing as a lacto-ovo vegetarian, except that I still eat seafood. I'm, however, working towards becoming vegan step by step, so the next step for me would be removing fish from my diet. Food from animals holds many nutrients and minerals that are important to us humans. The most important ones are iron, calcium, protein, zinc, and B12. Iron is used by hemoglobin, which carries oxygen from and to red blood cells. Calcium is used for the nerve and muscle functions and to create strong bones. Protein is the building block of our body. Almost everything that needs energy relies on protein, like, for example, muscles. Zinc improves our immune system and prevents us from getting sick. B12 is used to keep the body's nerve system healthy and helps making DNA and red blood cells. So, isn't being vegetarian very bad for your health as you don't eat meat and you're not getting these important nutrients from there? Well, don't worry. Vegetarianism is not bad for your health, but malnutrition is. Vegetarians are still able to get all these nutrients, but they need to follow a well-balanced diet that includes many foods high in these important nutrients. Some of those foods are seeds, nuts, dark green leafy vegetables, and beans. Now that we know that all your vegetarian friends won't die from malnutrition, we can focus on the reason for them choosing not to eat any meat. I think that those reasons can be sorted in health and social factors. Health-wise, some people choose to become vegetarian for personal health benefits. Vegetarian diets contain fewer fats and more fibers, which basically means that our risk of conditions like heart disease, cholesterol, ovarian and breast cancers, diabetes, obesity, and high blood pressure is a lot lower. However, vegetarians still need to be careful with what they eat, as fatty snacks and fried foods can still lead to the same effect. And though eating or not eating meat can have an effect on your health, it's just one risk factor in your diet, and often only the more extreme cases lead to malnutrition. Vegetarians are, however, more likely to have good health as they are more careful with their diets and lifestyle as a whole. A social factor could be people's concern about the meat industry's impact on the environment. Three-fourths of the water pollution in America's streams, rivers, and groundwater comes from animal manure that contaminates these waters with drug residues, heavy metals, and pathogens. Further, animal manure also releases a lot of strong greenhouse gases into the air, like carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide. And let's not even get started on the whole process and machines that are used during raising, feeding, transporting, and slaughtering the animals. Another social factor could be subcultures and religions. Many religions encourage vegetarianism and also achieve great results, like Taoism and Hinduism, which believe that non-violence is a big factor in spirituality. Other religions like Judaism and Islam only allow for kosher and halal meat to be eaten, which is meat that is prepared in a special and holy way. Although this is not really vegetarianism, I thought it was interesting that some people only eat specially prepared meat. And then lastly, there are also subcultures like straight edge and hippies that have been associated with vegetarianism. People's moral concern about animal welfare is the last social factor that I want to talk about. Farming is simply not the same as it used to be half a century ago. Let's do some history.
in 1911 antibiotics were invented.
What started off as a great invention that cured various diseases in humans has since been abused on a really large global scale. Factory farming industry uses over 80% of the antibiotics produced each year. Animals are stuffed with these in order to grow faster and survive just long enough in these unclean, small and foul living conditions before they are shipped off to the slaughterhouses. Apart from the horrible living conditions, the animals are also treated brutally. This video would become too long if I were to focus on all the crimes that happen in the pork, beef, dairy, egg and poultry industry, so I'll only mention the brutality in the dairy industry. Cows produce milk for the same reason as we do, to feed their young. At birth, calves are cruelly removed from their mothers and killed by stunning or by being thrown against the ground. The young dairy calves that are not killed have their horns burned away, which is called dehorning, and their tails cut off without anesthesia while being perfectly conscious. This is normal in the industry. They do this to make sure that they don't injure other animals or themselves. Open wounds and injuries are left untreated, and cows too sick or weak to stand are called downers. These weak cows are loaded onto trucks by being kicked, stung, or pushed by lift forks, and are then shipped off to slaughterhouses. The dairy cows that are strong enough are left to live and produce milk for us until their milk production becomes too low, and the same fate awaits them. This was just the dairy industry, but don't think that it gets any happier or better in others. So if this is happening, why aren't governments taking actions? Well, the factory farming industry has become a big and powerful industry. Americans spend more than $110 billion on meat in the fast food industry annually, which is more than is being spent on movies, books, magazines, newspapers, videos, and recorded music. This is happening because all these animal products are deeply rooted in our culture, which makes consumers more dependent on them. I think that the main three reasons for eating animal products are habit, taste, and convenience. Most of us, ever since we were kids, are just used to eating animal products. It's a learned behavior that we simply pass on to the next generation. These habits may differ per nation. For example, Holland is known for its cheese, while Japan is known for its sushi. It still has been part of both their cultures for such a long time that very little people still question it. It's not only the habit, but people are also used to the taste of these animal products. This taste brings them satisfaction, which might be hard to give up for some people. A vegetarian lifestyle and diet is also less convenient to maintain because it's less available. You need to constantly check whether the foods or the clothes that you're buying have animal products in them, because it's often not clearly labeled. You also need to follow a well-planned diet because animal products contain a lot of important nutrients that have been mentioned before. And you might even need to go to special shops to get special vegetarian foods. Although becoming vegetarian is a difficult transition due to how all these animal products play a big role in our culture, I think that it has put me and people that are vegetarian in general in a better position, health and mind-wise, by challenging them to think in an action-consequence manner about how their lifestyle and diet in general affects their health, environment, and other living creatures. Basically, how we affect the world.